Welcome to Armchair Expert.
Ooh.
I'm Dax Shepard.
I'm Monica.
You are Monica Lily Padman.
That's right. I am.
We have a little musical accompaniment for this intro.
Oh, this is a sexy intro.
Oh, it is. I wish we always had this intro.
Me too. We could.
This is our favorite singer,
Yeah.
Hannah Anderson, who goes by the name of Sister.
Yep.
And this is her song, Love Me Right, which is available now on
iTunes.
Google Play, iTunes, everywhere.
Yeah.
But on this episode today, we have Adam Pally, who is just a dream come
What a
true.
dream.
I fell in love with Adam Pally.
I know.
You know him from Happy Endings,
Mindy Project.
Mindy Project, and you have seen him countless times
I
do
was
improv.
already in love with him because of UCB and improv. He's an incredible improviser.
His extraordinary improv skills
He really
got you.
does.
The little reminder that we are going live with ticket sales for Seattle on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can go to our website, www.armchairexpertpod.com. Follow a link to buy tickets. I implore you to join us for the big party in Seattle. And I will leave you with a little sister.
I'll tell you what you gotta do. If you need me, you've gotta prove your love is true. I stick with somebody who will love me right. I wanna dance with somebody who will hold me tight. I know, he's an armchair expert.
Our dog.
Oh, man.
Hi, Adam Pally.
Hi, Dax. What a nightmare. Allergic to your own dog.
Well, to my wife's dog,
Well,
which
yeah,
has
but
now
which is
been
now yours.
for 11 years.
Oof.
But so we have all these air purifiers around the house, and I always look at them and think, there's not a chance in hell the filters are not at capacity. There's no way they're doing anything.
No, especially after like the air quality here.
Oh,
as soon as you take it out of the box, it just like turns black.
Uh-huh.
I live in New York again, so.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I moved back to New York a couple years ago.
I didn't realize that. So you're
Yeah.
out here promoting.
Promoting, yeah, and working, and so I've been kind of flying. I've taken the red eye 7 weeks in a row to make baseball and basketball in the morning on Saturdays, and then I come back to LA on Wednesday and do Wednesday to Friday.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's brutal.
it's tough. But when we moved to New York, it was like, you know, my wife is from New York, and so
You are too, right?
Yeah, and so she had given me 10 years out here to like really make it happen if I could.
Yeah.
And so, and then her parents got older, and you know, she wanted to go home, and I couldn't, in good conscience as a partner.
Yeah.
I couldn't be like, no.
And I bet when you made that promise, it's kind of like the 99-year lease that the Chinese gave to England for Hong Kong.
Yes.
Like they were sitting pretty for so long.
Yeah,
And
I didn't think she'd actually cash in on it, but
Yeah, you're
she
thinking,
did.
and aren't you like the whole time, like year 5, are you monitoring how much she's enjoying it out here? Like, oh, this is looking good.
I monitor that every day. I'm like, are you cool today? Are we chill?
Are we straight?
Are we good? I mean, that's like I wake up in the morning, I'm like, are we cool? Before I start all this other stuff, are we cool? Most of the time we're not. That's good marriage.
Well, you have 3 kids.
3 children, yeah.
It's hard, right?
It's really hard, yeah.
Yeah,
It's really hard.
Did she work?
She was working, like, we have a 7, 6, and a year and a half. So we were like out of the kinda woods, and then so she started working again, and
And getting happy and having self-esteem,
yeah,
and autonomy,
and
you just knocked that shit right up.
yeah. I was like, don't get too comfy here in society.
I know you're having fun talking to adults and stuff, but that's about to end. Here.
Yeah. No, it was like we had Irish twins, and when that happened, sometimes it was like, are we going to shut down shop, or are we young enough that we can have one more like chance with a baby? And I'm glad we did, because he's a smush.
Yeah, but so it was intentional.
The last one, the other 2 were horrible mistakes.
Okay.
Back to back.
You know, after we had 2, I got a vasectomy, which has been going fine for 4 years now. Everyone's fine with that decision, but we've been watching Handmaid's Tale. Do you watch that?
No, we can't watch anything yet.
Okay.
There's like too much going on. We're like a year away from watching something.
Well, when you put we're a year away, you're going to be able to like plow through all the best shows.
I know.
I'm almost envious of your situation.
I'm psyched, actually. There's a lot of binging I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out of my apartment.
So even when they go to bed, what do you guys do then for that hour and a half before you go to bed?
Our kids are, God bless them, I love them. They're terrible, and they don't sleep through the night a lot. So they'll get up and come into our bed, and each one has a different bedtime. So yeah, so like when you're like at night, like what night? You know, like it's an all ever present, wide eyed like war.
Okay.
So we're like a year away. Like I feel like when my oldest can start like going to friends' houses and stuff like that, like we're right there. We're right there. But
yes.
we're still kind of miserable.
And do you fall into the pattern that like me and my other male friends, like it seems to be pretty common that like the guys like, no, let's fucking get militant about this bed situation. And then mom is more like, no, is that...
I don't think we fall into that trap because I'm not there. I'm a deadbeat dad, you know.
Okay.
Like I'm a good dad, but I'm, you know, this job. Even when we lived here, I was not. Bedtime was scarce because, whatever, you're in South Africa doing 2 days on a Vin Diesel movie. It's like that takes 3 weeks.
Did you do that?
No.
Oh,
that was an example.
But like a hypothetical.
I didn't get that. No, but I feel like that's what the job is, you know, like, and until you get to a place where you really can say no to stuff, which I'm not really in that place.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of have to keep moving. So I'm not the militant one on bedtime, but neither of us are. Neither of us are militant about anything. It's kind of a bad.
There's no like disciplinarian in the mix.
Nope. It's just like a wild.
Free-for-all.
It's a free for all. It's disgusting.
Can I circle back to Vin Diesel for a second?
Yeah, please.
First of all, I applaud everything he's done. So I have love in my heart for Vin Diesel.
Okay.
But there was a moment while I was shooting Parenthood on Universal where they were shooting some of one of the Fast and Furious on the lot.
I remember that time. I was on the Mindy Project.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
And all the Fast and Furious cars in the parking lot.
I remember that, yeah.
Side note, I love those
You're a car
cars.
guy. You're a
yes.
car guy. Yes,
So-
I know that.
And then my heart was broken when I went and looked at those cars, and I looked and like there's no engines in any of them.
There's nothing.
No, they're like just shells.
They're pulled on wires to spin out like that. Like
There's nothing really happening in those.
It's a bummer.
It was heartbreaking. But okay, so the highlight of them being there was at one point we were traveling to the back lot, and you get stuck behind a tram often. And so the studio tour tram was going. It was going inordinately slow. We're like, why is this thing going so slow? So we kind of stepped out of our lane and we saw. And what was happening was Vin Diesel was riding a Segway in a white tank top in the middle of in the middle of the road, presumably going to get a snack or something. I don't know what he was doing, but he was riding a Segway in a tank top, in a wife beater.
Yeah.
And the whole tour, is getting to enjoy that, and I was enjoying the hell out of it.
That's amazing to see.
What a thing to see!
This is the most Hollywood thing ever.
I know, like when you go on that tour, you're like midway through, you're like, "This is bullshit."
Are we going to see someone on a Segway?
Yes. Where's Vin Diesel?
Yeah,
and there he was.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know how you felt about the tour, but I get kind of embarrassed. Not like I'm Vin Diesel, but
I think we're in different places because also I am not I don't cut a recognizable figure. I'm recognizable because I've been in the game for a long time. So there's a lot of places where you would hear my voice or see me, but rarely do I get recognized.
Really?
And I live in New York where like I'm face to face with people every day.
I do attribute that to. I agree that you have a blend-in-y look.
Yeah, which I like. I'm glad about.
Because my wife is, objectively more famous than me, infinitely more.
Yeah, she's one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah. She's like Mickey Mouse. But when we're at an airport, generally I'm the one who gets recognized.
Well, you're tall.
Because I'm tall and my nose is very
and
weird.
you've been around. Like you're in the game. So like it's like people become comfortable and they recognize you in that way.
Yeah, and that's a whole side note is like what you end up getting famous for, how approachable you seem to people, I guess.
Yes, totally. Like I wish that I had, instead of gotten a modicum of recognition from being like a fat, lovable friend, it would have been great to be like, he was awesome in Dahmer. Like don't go near him. You know, Like, Jeremy Renner's got it made.
Oh yeah, you're just genuinely afraid of him.
Yeah, people like don't talk to Jeremy Renner. Meanwhile, all that dude does is flip houses.
Yeah, he's a beautiful guy.
Beautiful
shockingly.
man who like flips houses and has like 4 French bulldogs.
Yeah,
he's nothing to be afraid of. Yet people walk like on the other side of the street.
Yeah, isn't it fun when you meet people like that around town and you're expecting one thing and then you're like, oh, this is amazing. This person plays someone that's opposite of them at all times.
That is one of the best parts of working in this industry, is seeing just how similar everybody is, because the industry like pushes people ahead and like deifies them in a way.
Yeah.
I heard this story from Neil Brennan. It was something he did like 1 or 2 days on Tom Hardy's new like Al Capone movie.
Okay.
And so like he's all psyched, you know, they're like getting him in a trailer and he's got this like 3-piece suit and his hair is slicked back. And Tom Hardy's playing Al Capone. He's like so psyched. He's like, all these big actors are dressed this way. They come down to set and like Tom Hardy's there and they go through the blocking and it seems really intense. And then they go, okay, second team. And Tom Hardy takes out his phone and starts taking selfies of himself. And I was like, yeah, man, we're all just like, no one is better. No one is worse. We're all just kind of here.
You kind of hope you'll transcend being human by getting famous, but it just doesn't really happen.
No, it gets you. Actually, I think you kind of become more sensitive and human because you're like, yeah, you're like little things bristle you because you're like, I'm not done that in a while. Like, you know,
yeah.
So today I'm being like shuttered around to a bunch of interviews. Like,
yeah, where are you going?
I don't know. I just like, but a normal person would have an eye on their schedule.
Well, that's what I was going to be curious because I kind of will watch that type of thing. And then my wife's the opposite. She'll just arrive places.
She'll just put her head down and go through it.
Yeah. And then, which I think is a better approach.
The only thing I really do take really, really, really seriously is like a comedic talk show appearance.
Yes.
I will write and sit and ruminate for months and months and months to like figure what I want to do and how I want to do it.
Yeah.
But that's only because I feel like that gets put, it's like that's also mine. Like that little bit where I get to be on television with another comedian, like that's mine. You know,
we have that in common. Like I weirdly, talk show appearances have been my single favorite part of acting.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like because I grew up loving talk shows.
Me too. It's like that's what I watched.
Who are your favorites?
Well, Letterman is the guy. Mm-hmm. You know, Carson I watched. I was young enough to know that it was good. You know, like I remember being so enamored with like Robin Williams when he would go on Carson or something and like couldn't sit still and, you know, be like, yes. You know, like that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And then Conan filled a real nice gap till I grew up a little into like the Daily Show and Colbert.
So you were too young to have gone on Letterman, right?
I've never been on Letterman, no. Yeah. But I've been on Conan a lot, and I also, when I was coming up in New York, they would call me, I've been on Conan doing like...
Oh, in the audience stuff?
In like bear costumes. And, yeah, so like
So I've maybe seen you in a bear costume.
Probably, or like I did one where I was in like an American Speedo and I like flew across the screen. Like, you know, I was looking for work and young and, you know, they would call me.
Yeah.
So that is cool to be like a guest and like part of that.
I just watched yesterday while I was at work, I watched you on Conan in your Snare Devil.
Oh my God, that was such a train wreck. Yeah.
And I couldn't, here's what I couldn't decide. First of all, I loved it.
Okay,
yes. So he goes on to Conan. Maybe you should describe it.
Well, okay. I like going on Conan in doing like a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so I'll dress up every time. I'll do like a different character or whatever. And so this last time I went on, I wanted to do a character called Snare Devil. Mm-hmm. Which is like Daredevil, the superhero, but with a snare, but who's also like into percussion and but I'm not a big like superhero guy, yeah. And so I screwed up who Deadpool and Daredevil was. So it's actually Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
And there's not like a great rhyming pun like that for a drum, so it didn't make sense. and so like, but I was in that Deadpool mask and it was so hot. Like, first of all, Ryan Reynolds should get every Academy Award. That thing is no joke.
Well, while Adam's breathing in this costume, you can see that he's suffocating.
Yes,
like
I am.
And by the way, I'm having so much like mirror neuron stuff happening when I'm watching you do that because that's something I 100% would have done. And in fact, a couple things before we even get into how it all unraveled. I found that I pitched stuff like that pretty often early on.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you can't let come hijack the show. Like
it took a lot early on. I still have like, I'm doing a couple for this next thing, and like they still tell me like, no, like they'll be like, no, Steven just wants to sit there and talk to you, and I'm like, well, great, but like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a
little power struggle,
a little power struggle, and then usually you end up compromising, and the idea it gets worse. And I really like that part of showbiz too. It really feels workmanlike to me. I like that feeling of like I'm going out and promoting my movie or my show. It's like this is what I do,
Yeah,
I enjoy it, but I stress about it.
And again, all the dudes I idolized growing up were guys who like crushed on Letterman or Conan.
Yeah.
And that's who I was. I weirdly was trying to be that more than I was trying to be any of the actors in the movies they were promoting.
100%. It's a very clear statement. Yes. Like I remember watching Will Ferrell do his first couple Conans and be like, that is it.
Yeah, that's the North Star.
That's the North Star. And I love him on everything, but like those bits are amazing. That's like where I still find he did a bit on his last press junket. I think it was on Colbert or something where he had a bird on his shoulder. He didn't reference it. And then in the middle of the interview, he took a little snack out of his thing and fed the bird.
No, he's infuriatingly ahead in that world.
Yes.
There was a small window where he and I had the same manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got this idea where I was like, I really want to be on a reenactment. Like I want to be in one of those, shows
I know exactly
where,
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like a murder show, and then they go back to the guy
it's like shot from above.
Yeah, true crime. No dialogue. You're just like trying to. You're basically a mime.
It almost looks like The Sims.
Yeah. So I called him and I was like, "Hey, I really, really want to get on a reenactment of some kind." And of course he goes, "Oh yeah, that reminds me so much of Farrell wanted to be a dead body on NCIS," and I'm like, or one of those shows.
Yeah.
And I'm like, was he? He's like, "Oh yeah, he's been a dead body twice on those shows, and really nobody knows." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so frustrating." And then one time I went to a Lakers game, and inexplicably, Will Ferrell's just one of those ushers with a red jacket on. He's just there the whole game, just standing as an usher.
That is like he is. I feel like that is. You're right. That's the North Star. And his comedy is so. It's perfect.
It's everything.
It's perfect. It's unearned arrogance, and it's like it's everything I want all the time.
Somehow it's really too kind. It's all really kind, and yet it works so well.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. He's the GOAT.
Yeah,
number one.
So anyway, so you're on Conan, and he's in this very cumbersome outfit. Plus, he has a snare drum on his lap, and he has swords on his back, so he can barely sit down. And what I was trying to figure out is like, okay, how much of this is going as planned, and then what part is really unraveling?
Yeah, no,
when you come out, it's going to be nearly impossible to sit down because
it all went the way I thought it was going to go.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and Conan knew that like.
When you pulled off.
That I was going to have a mask underneath.
Yeah, so eventually he can't breathe to the point Conan's like, please take that off. And he goes, okay, and he takes it off. He goes, oh, this is so much better. But he's wearing another superhero mask.
I'm wearing the actual Daredevil mask. Oh, I got it right, just in case.
But the stages, of course, you did know that you were in the wrong outfit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like, comedically, I really like to live in that very like simple space of like I did something wrong.
Right. You're getting kind of caught in the middle of failure.
Yes. I love that everyone knows that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, he should probably just leave, but I can't. So it's I like that feeling. I think it's funny.
So if you had this moment, here's a moment on Conan that I had where I it's telling in many ways.
Yeah.
Well, Chips came out and it bombed, right? Uh-huh. But my fucking press interview for him was after the opening weekend.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my God, what can be worse?
Was it like a straight up bomb? Forgive me for.
It made exactly what we spent on it, so but it certainly underperformed.
Right, but it wasn't like one of those things that like on Variety, it was like no bite out of Chips, right? Like it was just like number 4.
Yeah, this bag of chips has gone stale.
Yeah, it wasn't like that.
No, but it wasn't great.
Okay.
The bottom line is I'm going to go there on Monday. Actually, you're kind of hitting the point that I realized, right? Which is, so I go, fuck, I got to go out there and promote this movie that tanked. I'm going to try to own it in a different way. So it was the only comedy that weekend. So I print up a shirt that says #1 comedy in America, right? And then I come out and I'm like celebrating #1 comedy in America. Yeah. And people are cheering it, and I'm like, and then Conan's like, but it wasn't the #1 movie, and I'm like, no, it wasn't, some superhero movie. Yeah. Oh yeah, well that was the #1 superhero movie, and there's like 3 other movies ahead of it, and I'm like, well that's the #1 young adult movie in America, right?
YA.
It occurs to me while I'm doing this, I've let all my insecurities get the best of me. The audience has no idea the movie did bad. In my little narcissistic world, I think the whole world is laughing at me and embarrassed for me. They're just assuming it was a big hit. And I actually, mid-bit, it's like not going as I planned. I have to go, let's be honest, this thing shit the bed. And then finally, like, they're in on it. But I'm like totally just operating out of insecurity.
It's interesting because comedy out of insecurity never goes the way you want it to. It becomes desperate. Yeah. And like what you were feeling was this thing that was a defeat to you.
Yeah.
But it was, in truth, is a great victory. You made a movie that was in theater.
A year later, I have that point of view, yes.
Yeah, no, but when you're going through it, it's horrible. It's gut-wrenching. I mean, I made a dog movie last year. I've been through it, but then you realize, like, I did a dog movie, and my job is to go out and be funny on this show, and I got to be able to separate that from me being like, oh God, did Ben Stiller ever do a dog movie? Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot to get there.
It really does. And
I'm still not, I'm bitter as hell.
Yeah, well, I would imagine, I'm thinking like you're 36, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of my final piece has come in like the last 3 years, right? Which was, I was so singular focused on someone like Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler, whoever, that I couldn't enjoy anything shy of that. And at a certain point I was like, fuck, dude, you've been employed for 15 years. What did, get real. And also, Kevin Smith told me this like amazing thing. I was lamenting to him about Chip's failing. And of course he's had some failures. And he goes, you know what my trick is? He goes, imagine going back to yourself, a 12-year-old Dax on a playground and going, hey, dude, when you grow up, you're going to direct this fucking movie Chips with motorcycle stunts. It's going to be all over the place. He goes, do you think young Dax would go, oh my God, how much did it make?
Yeah, no.
And I was like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
I completely lost sight.
Like I said, I've been through it. This is my 4th TV show, and the others have not worked.
Okay.
They've got on air, but they're certainly not around.
But
still.
you had 5 great years of gainful employment and it was 3 years of happy endings,
and
right?
2 of Mindy, and it was great, and it was awesome. But still, both those shows got canceled, right when I was on them, and so you
and do you take on, like, do you?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Making History, when Making History got canceled, I don't think I left my room for like a month.
Really?
Because it was like me front and center, and it was reviewed well, which is great, but no one liked it. My family didn't like it.
They did.
It was like a chore to watch, and I love it, and I think it's so funny, but it's just, it didn't connect. So and then I was like, that's me. That's my fault. But are
you able to get?
I'm bitter.
Are you able to get objective about like, ooh, maybe I can be within my lane, my point of view as a comedian, yet put it in a package that's a little more palatable for.
I try. I mean, I think that's the goal to me, is like to keep your voice while getting people to see it, and then you can push it.
Right. You got to like kind of welcome people in.
Yeah.
Gently, maybe.
Yes, of course. I mean, and that's always hard when you've busted in your career. You like bust in with this big, loud character.
Yeah.
And it's kind of abrasive, but people like that. So then you have to go, well, I'm not really abrasive. I'm actually like kind of soft and sweet.
Yes.
So now I want to bring you in this way. Except my comedy is kind of hard edge, so it's a real toughie. You know?
I say this all the time. It's like, it's really tricky for a comedian to recognize that what brought you to the party might not be the same thing that keeps you at the party.
No, and you have to evolve. I don't do stand up. I wish that I spent my years honestly like doing stand up instead of improv. I feel like I would be better now if I was had focused on myself a little more. I didn't work that hard. I mean, I was there every night and doing comedy, but I love improv and it's like what I was trained at, but there's something not exploratory.
It's not very personal.
Yeah, you're only going as far as the scene, and you can find truth in the scene that's like exploring stuff, but you're not being like, this is what I think. This is how the world affects me. And I feel like I wasted some time not doing that. You know what I mean?
100%. As I get older, I watch something like Chappelle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel about Chappelle how I used to feel about Will Ferrell, which is like, wow, look at this guy bring you in with this comedy and then teach you this thing about civil rights. To me, it's so powerful and like this awesome weapon you have as a comedian.
Yes, and I oftentimes wish that I had more access to that for myself. Like I wish I could access those parts of myself to like sit down and actually write something and then get on stage and perform that and perfect it and have it be of value. But that may not be my skill set.
Well, have you tried though?
I've tried, and I've been on stage numerous times with a microphone, like doing bits and stuff. But I have never like sat down and been like, these are the things I'm going to tackle, and it takes 10 years. I mean, like you need 10 years to be good at it, like 10 full years.
Yes,
and that is a long. I don't have that. I got kids. I don't have that drive to like get out after the kids go to bed and do like 15 clubs around the city. Like, no way, my friend. Gotta be up at 6 with the kids.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Yeah, I hear you. But I do, it's funny because you'll hear, like, I'm sure you consume all this different comedy stuff that I do. Like, you watch Coffee and Cars with comedians?
I do. I both watch it and I hate watch it. It's an odd phenomenon. Like, I love it and I also hate it.
Okay, tell me why. I'm sure I know why you love it.
I love it because it's these guys just like,
heroes,
like, driving around. I hate it because I don't need to hear Jerry tell John Mulaney that he had the first black card.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you just stopped being interested. Like Jerry trying to like, be like, hey, young kid, I'm very cool and I'm very rich and I haven't seen a lot of your comedy, but people tell me you're interesting, but you're not that interesting because I had the first American Express black card. And I'm like, that's where Jerry to me, I'm like, okay, check out here.
So do you at any moment though think like, oh, Jerry's a human too?
Yes.
And here's the new guard, and here's a young guy.
Yes.
And he's probably as confident and successful as Jerry is. He's probably nervous this younger guy thinks he's a hack or corny or goofy. Because I get that.
Of course, and I love that.
Even someone like you coming here, I'm like, oh, he probably thinks I'm a hacky.
I've worked with everybody around you, and everybody has such amazing things to say. So I never think that.
Okay.
But like Jerry is like on a Mount Rushmore in a way.
Oh, 100%.
So and then he does have, the reason I both hate it and love it is because then he does have also these like great moments, like his moment with Galifianakis.
Yes, I'm so glad you just brought this up because.
Oh, that moment was the best moment ever.
About how he was very upset people were taking pictures of him.
Yes. And Jerry goes, who cares?
Yeah.
That was like...
I needed to hear that.
I needed to hear that too. I needed to be like, that's right. Like, no one cares. We're all going to die. Get out and do your work. Like,
yes.
And Zach, and I love Zach.
Me
I don't
too.
know him personally, but he's a hero. And he was so hit when Jerry said that. Like, you could tell he was like... Oh...
It was my favorite moment on that whole series.
It's the best moment of anything in the show.
Because at one time, I completely relate to Galifianakis, which is a total loss of control. Like someone's just filming you in your face and you can't do anything about it. But at the same time, then Jerry goes, I don't have any presumption of anonymity or privacy when I go out to a coffee shop. Like you can't have that assumption of privacy. And big fucking deal.
And that was my favorite part. He goes, I love that speech. And then he goes at the end of it, and it's over in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like, I walk outside my apartment, and someone goes, hey, Jerry. And I go, hey. And it's over.
Yes, that part of him's very aspirational.
Yes. And I kept thinking when I was watching Zach talk about it, I was like, everyone should be sit down and talk to about this.
100%.
It's the number one thing that, like, when I've had friends who become weird in show business,
Yeah.
it's like they all need to see that.
Yes, it's a very easy trap. And again, I don't fault anyone because I do think it's just like we all have some desire of control in our life. And yeah, I've been really guilty of it. I also think at times, not now, but I've at times been like him, like seemingly ungrateful for the best things that have happened to me because maybe they weren't exactly what I wanted them to be. And just go like, oh man, get over yourself.
Yeah. Well, moving to New York, I would say that these last 2 years have been a real like good emotional growth for me on that level because life hasn't gone the way I thought it would in a lot of ways. And so when that happens, I think before that, you know, I just had like a network TV, another show canceled and did a dog movie. And like, I was kind of bumming, you know, and then real stuff happened with my family. And I had to go take care of it. I had to like go take care of it, like parent stuff, and like and sisters having babies, and like, and my mom's gone, so like I had, you know, real life takes you forget about it, and then you do it, and I don't spend as much time here like seeing everybody's new billboards and stuff, and like it made me kind of like, especially now that I have a show again, it's like I feel very grateful and positive towards the process now.
Oh, good.
You know what I'm?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That 2 years ago, if I was in this chair, I think I'd be a little more like it's coming to me.
Yeah. You just pointed out something that's never even occurred to me, that like that's the unique torture of living in LA where you have to commute on Sunset at some point.
That's awful.
Yeah.
And Sunset is building after building with piers with their face completely on the building. And it looks like they're promoting the hell out of it, and then you're like, oh,
and they're not. They put those billboards strategically, like based on where the star lives.
Oh yeah, they did that. By the way, I jokingly said in a Chips marketing meeting, like I expect to see posters from my house all the way to my daughter's school every day. And by God, they were. I'm sure it only was in Los Feliz. They were on like bus stops.
I'm convinced that the Champaign Ill New York billboard. There's one.
Okay,
there's one. They put it 5 blocks from my apartment. I'm convinced, and it's not that big. It's like kind of small, and I'm convinced they did that so like it'll make Adam happy.
Yeah,
it cost us 10 G's. Okay.
Yeah, we can make him happy.
Yeah. And I walk out, and then when I saw it, I was like, Dad.
Yes, it totally works.
Yeah, it worked. It worked.
Well, listen, I'm working right now with Alicia Cuthberg.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, isn't she the greatest?
She is the greatest. She's so fucking funny.
Yeah, she physically looks a lot like my wife.
Well, similar size.
Yeah, they have like a very pronounced jaw.
Yeah, she's got which they share with my wife as well, which is that like blonde, round, large-headed, pointy chin that could like, if she puts it in your back, it'll get out a knot.
Absolutely. And it looks like she could take a punch from Oscar De La Hoya. Like Alicia, solid jaw.
Alicia has taken a couple punches.
Right.
she's been through it.
But she's like the hillbilly version of my wife, and I say that with love because I am a hillbilly myself. Yes, totally.
She's a hick from
Canadian hick.
Like Calgary. Who like Alicia could like skin a bear and live in it if she had to.
Yes.
And she's also like one of the most beautiful women on the planet. She's a real she's awesome. I love her. Yeah.
Crazy fun special gal.
Yeah.
But so yesterday I saw her at work and I said, "Oh hey, I'm interviewing Adam tomorrow. What are your thoughts?" Which is always like a fun question to ask someone who's worked with someone for 3 years.
Oh my God, what's she gonna say?
No, she just straight loves you.
Oh good, yeah.
Yeah. And she said, because you have a reputation of going rogue a bit.
Yes.
At times.
Yes.
But you made an impromptu speech at her wedding.
It wasn't. She asked me to speak. I didn't.
She did. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like drunkenly walk up there and start speaking. No, we were all there. The whole cast was there. And she wanted someone to speak from like Hollywood. And
you raised your hand.
And then I was drunk and I was like, I'll do it. And then I gave a speech.
Oh, so it was impromptu in that way.
Yes,
you weren't told a week before.
No, I was told at the wedding, like, hey, Alicia would love someone from this table to say something. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. Right.
And she told me that Adam got up and they had really fancy menus. And he just read the menu. Which is fantastic. And she said, but I was also filled with anxiety because you don't know where it's going to go. And then at one point you made fun of the Catholic priest a little bit, maybe
a little bit, but you had to.
Like,
I mean, it was just a long
had
ceremony.
to.
It was a long ceremony. I was more just like, wanted to remind him that there were people of other faith in that church.
Put him in his place a little bit.
Yeah, let's do the Cliff Notes version of this.
Yeah. I'll just pick up
They're
the pace.
long, those Catholic ceremonies.
The Catholic a Jewish wedding, it's like, you cool with this? Yeah, break that glass, make out in front of your family. Everyone, like, let's go drink bad wine. And then it's great.
Are you practicing Jewish?
No, I'm not practicing, but I do feel lately more vocal. I think it's important.
Meaning
like,
owning your Jewishness.
Owning the fact, because I do it a lot self-effacingly. It's like a big part of my comedy, like, Alan King style, like, oh, I'm a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
But lately, especially like the way things are going now, I think it's important to own it. Like, I don't believe in religion, really. I think it's pretty hard. But I do believe in, like, I tell all my Jewish friends and people that are just like, we're not white. And I think it's important. For some reason, like, our parents' generation assimilated so hard that they were like, we're white. We're white. We're okay. And it's like very important to know that you are not white. You are not okay. And that when the shit hits.
Well,
the
did that
fan-
march in Charlottesville remind you that?
Charlottesville was big. Pittsburgh drove me nuts. Pittsburgh scared me hard.
Yeah.
My kids go to a Jewish preschool. It's like that was real. That was very real for me. I really felt it.
Yeah. Now, Charlottesville, I'm sure you watch coverage of that.
Uh-huh.
The fact that they were saying, Jews, you won't replace me.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of Jews are gunning for their jobs?
No. That was a very confused. They've never met a Jew. There's no Jews there.
Right.
There's no Jews in South Carolina. There aren't.
Okay.
And if they are there, they run the general store, like Deadwood style.
Uh-huh.
So the term Jew is mythical. It's just this thing that, like, that's why, like, George Soros is code for, like, this Jewish kind of Illuminati that doesn't exist.
Yeah, they hate Soros.
It's like, he's just a rich Jew. And
well, he's just a lefty.
yeah.
It's not he's not uniquely left.
No,
he's just a well-funded,
a really well-funded lefty Jew.
Although, in their defense, I always like to try to be fair. We certainly do that to the Koch brothers.
Of course.
We see them as like Darth Vader.
Yes.
They're also funding, like, I met somebody, I think maybe in the prostate cancer, I work with prostate cancer awareness. I want to say that someone was like, no, I like the Koch brothers. They funded more cancer research than anybody in the country.
Well,
that's, I guess you don't hear that in my town.
Yeah, everyone's got a yin and yang on what they actually do.
Yeah.
But I do feel, I don't know, I feel a little bit like the reason that they don't know, and they were so wrong about, like, Jews will not replace us, is I think it speaks more to an age thing that I'm noticing lately with, like, young people. I mean, you are the guy from the movie that represents it, so it's funny to be here talking to you. But, like,
what, Idiocracy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
but, like, people are dumber in a way, and because they can speak to you really easily and speak freely, ideas that without someone correcting someone then become, like, real ideas without anyone going, like, hey.
Well, yes, somehow reading ideas seems to validate them. I think because of our, like, old version of, the only time we read was, like, a newspaper, which was vetted and researched.
Yeah.
So it's like you have this association with reading things that kind of validates them.
And learning. People are so entitled about what they know and they don't know that it's a weakness not to know something. To acknowledge that you don't know something, you need to learn it, would be weak.
Yeah.
Like, the example I would use is the Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl did, like, this, he does it sometimes, like, he brings the whole Nirvana band back together and then he has a bunch of people sing, like Joan Jett.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
Yeah, super goes all for charity.
I worship Dave Grohl.
He's the greatest.
Yeah.
And so he had a bunch of super cool people come and sing lead for Nirvana. And then he did one. And so I was watching it on YouTube, being like, this is so cool. And then I, like an idiot, scroll down to the comments, and the comment section is so crazy. There are like 75% of the comment section is like, how dare the Foo Fighters cover Nirvana?
Oh my God.
for real. Like,
Yeah.
And then
like they
and then
genuinely
one guy-
have no idea.
And then one guy reads that or girl reads that and they catch on. Then they write something and they're like, for real, man. If I had to pick a band to do this, it would not be the Foo Fighters.
it would not be some of the members of Nirvana.
Yeah, and then like another thing is like Dave Grohl should never touch these songs. These are Kurt's. And you're like,
oh my God.
this is crazy. These are 10-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds,
Yeah.
who just don't know and didn't bother to look.
Yeah. You know, that the analogy I always use is like everyone knows when you're on your way into 7-Eleven and you see a guy with a sleeping bag on the ground and a parrot on his shoulder, you're not going to engage with that gentleman.
No,
you're
are.
just like, he's probably got a different worldview than I do, and they'll probably not intersect.
Yeah.
Yet I give everyone online this kind of credit of being a normal, sane human being. And I got to remind myself, many of the people commenting are the dude with the parrot on his shoulder.
Yeah, and I got into it. First of all, I clap back online.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I clap back way too much.
Yes.
Because I have a thin skin a little bit, and like I'm easily baited.
Me too.
So I feel the need to be like, you idiot, but which doesn't do anything.
No.
But like I recently got into it. So the title of my new show is called Champagne Ill.
Okay.
Right, which is like a
ILL.
play on Illinois. So we released a trailer. And on Twitter, I got like, I would say spammed would be the word, by people who live in Champaign, Illinois.
Okay.
Who
sure.
are pissed that we didn't shoot it there.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, so I flipped out, because I'm like, in an Uber being like, the hell?
Uh-huh.
And I start like losing it. I'm like, you fucking idiot. What do you think? They shot Star Wars in space? You think the toys really come alive when we walk out of the room? You fucking dummy. Like, and then they write back to me, well, it still would have been nice to, and he's like, oh, I'm arguing with insane people. Like, Jaws was not, you think that there's a real shark there?
Yeah.
Like, it's like being like, oh, I can't believe they harmed that giant shark. Like, it makes it's so dumb. It's so dumb.
But so do you drill down deep? Because I try to look for the pattern of things that I get irate about, and there's a ton of stuff that just rolls off my back.
Sure.
And then there are certain things, like I'll tell you the one for this podcast that drives me bonkers is you don't have enough diversity. I read that what is probably just an innocent desire for more perspective. I read it as an accusation that I'm a racist.
Right.
So when I start defending from a place that I'm not a racist, I'm out of control.
You look
well. Also, no, I do.
Yeah, you look racist.
I have several times.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not. Why am I saying this?
Yes, but because it attacks maybe like a core value I do think I have, I overreact. So I'm wondering if the Champaign, Illinois thing for you is like, you think I am a nice person and I am trying to celebrate your town, and now you're accusing me of having harmed your town. Is that what's going on?
So, yes, I think because I did say in one of them when I got really heated, I was like, if someone had made a TV show about my hometown with 2 comedians when I was a kid, I'd be psyched. And of course, he wrote back like, "Who are the comedians?" I was like, "You motherfucker!"
Oh, that's good.
But
I love every now and then too. You're completely bested.
Oh,
which
I'm
is
bested all the time.
humiliating.
I'm bested all. I'm owned. I'm pawned. I'm owned. Terrible.
I clap back. I really kind of like that.
Yeah, I clap.
But
back
also,
too much.
then do you go through this because not first of all, I regret doing it always. And
I delete them like an hour later. I go back and I'm like Kevin Harding it.
Yes, and I'm embarrassed. I'm so easily ensnared.
Yep, and I'm embarrassed that I punched down. I'm like, because I'm up here like kind of king of my own castle. I should have that shouldn't even hit my windshield.
Exactly. But I'm a human being, and
it's hard.
I read those things, and an hour later, I'm still thinking about them.
Yeah.
But do you also have the other layer of like, oh man, I blew by 12 comments from people saying I love you.
Yes.
And then I gave attention to someone who said I hated you.
Yeah, I think that's the performer's dilemma.
Ah.
Where like we are trying to fill a hole with laughter or praise or applause or definitely approval, attention, definitely. And getting it does not really work.
No.
And so you're always going to look at the thing that you didn't. It's like even when you get it, it doesn't fill that hole.
Yeah.
So the first thing you go to is the one negative thing, because that's what you can like actually feel. You can actually touch that, you know?
I think that even transitions into my relationships that have gone the distance, which is as a comedian searching for approval, I need the person I'm in love with to be withholding just enough approval from me.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Oh yeah, my wife hates me.
Okay.
My wife hates me, and I love it. My wife hates me, and I love it. No, my wife and I have a really beautiful romantic story, and we were together in high school, and then we broke up and like found each other again. I love it so much, the life and like how we get to do it together.
Yeah.
She does not give a shit about me and my career. Mm-hmm. I don't think it would work for me if someone did. I think I would just instantly be like, why? I don't care. Like the fact that you care makes me not care.
1,000%.
And I'm always looking for her to laugh, and she never laughs. It's like that makes me love her more.
Yeah, you want someone to support you.
Yes.
But you don't want a fan.
No, you don't want a fan.
So what grade in high school did you get together?
Senior year.
Senior year.
She's a year older than me, so she left.
Well done.
I was a junior and she left, and then we were like talking, but you know.
And then she go away to college and want to make out with football players and stuff.
I assume, yeah.
Yeah. Why, I hope she did.
Football players, cheerleaders, whatever she did. I don't care.
And how long were you broken up before you?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we like got to be people.
That's really helpful.
Yes, it is very helpful to find out who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed that. But my parents are high school sweethearts, and her parents are high school sweethearts.
Okay.
And so when we reconnected, it was so like, I just want to say, like when you put a key in a lock and it turns, and you have that nice feeling of like, the lock comes down, it like fits. You're like, this is perfect.
So you get out of high school. You grew up in New York. Your dad's a doctor.
My parents were actors and in a rock band.
Oh, really?
When I was a kid. Yeah. My parents were in a rock band called Pally and Pal that toured the Catskills.
Was mom Pal?
Mom was Pal.
Okay.
Until she became Pally. And they would do stuff like my dad would be playing piano and my mom would like climb on the piano and be like, you know what the most important thing in the world is, Steven? And my dad would be like, what's that, Karen? She'd be like, friends. My dad would be like, oh, you got to have friends. And they'd like play that song.
Is there like
there's no
8
video
millimeter of
the
it?
70s, but there's a lot of audio, a ton of audio.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, and like we have all their old headshots and stuff, posters. It's cool. But so then my dad was an actor in New York, you know, like going out for soap operas and whatnot.
No kidding.
Until I was like 7. I have two younger sisters, but the third one wasn't there yet. My second one was there, second sister. And he was like, you know what? I don't love this. And so he moved us to Chicago, and he went to medical school at University of Chicago. And then when I was 11, he moved us back to New Jersey.
Okay.
And then he was a doctor. So I've known him and my mom in like very different lives.
Yeah. So
lives.
You were in Chicago from what age to 11?
7 to 11.
7 to 11.
That's why my accent is like, that's when you like form your accent. Yeah, that's why I sound like I'm like a Ditka. My dad is a doctor now.
So you've also, similarly to me, I think, lived in hugely different socioeconomic stratas at different points.
Yeah, we were broke most of my life until we moved to New Jersey, and he had a practice. We had no money, so we lived like the three of us were in Stuyvesant Town in like a 1-bedroom apartment for a lot of my childhood.
Yeah, and so you probably too, your younger siblings, like my sister's life compared to mine is vastly different.
That's why my littlest sister's so fucking lazy. So lazy. She wouldn't even like pick me up at the airport. Like,
good for her.
I'm like, that's because you were born rich.
My sister's not lazy at all, but she did go to like a private school and stuff. And
it's
just
a different
so
life.
different.
Yeah.
But how did you end up getting into the actor studio?
I was at the University of Arizona for 2 years, and I had a really good time, but I like was not gonna make it. I like
you like
to
go to
party.
Havasu and shit.
I didn't do that because I'm a Jew. Like they let Jews at Havasu, but like I did like
it's not a safe space.
No,
probably.
but like I would come here and I would go to Vegas and like I was like I wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah.
So I made a movie on 16 millimeter during a break and sent it to the new school, and I got in. And so I was like, all right, maybe I should do that. Then I got to New York and instantly was like, oh, the new school, this is bad to say, but it's like, this is great, but I really should be at the Upright Citizens Brigade every night.
Right.
Like, that's where it's at.
Right. And so you were doing both. You were going to UCB at night. And
I was doing college during the day and like interning at the theater every night. And
okay.
Throwing out bottles and shit.
Right. You're a good, I've seen you, like, I saw you in Night Owl, I think was the first thing I saw you in.
Thank you.
Yeah, like act. And you're incredibly natural and wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Do you attribute it to that or?
Yes. I think acting school is tough. I think it's like you really do it to erase this like one thing that you have to learn to erase, which is embarrassment. You know, all actors,
self-consciousness.
Yeah, it's like actors can't do that. I can be embarrassed during the day. Like now I feel embarrassed. My belly is like touching my mantis. But like if we were shooting and you were directing and you're like, okay, so you take your shirt off, I'd be like, yep. It's like I can't be embarrassed. And I think that's what acting school really does to you, because you walk in, you're like super nervous and you're still trying to get laid too, so you want to look cool. And then they go, okay, get in a leotard and put on a lion mask.
Yes, act like an animal.
Yeah,
There's
and you're like,
things.
and like you hate it, and it's dumb. It really is dumb.
Yeah.
But at the same time, after you've done that, it doesn't seem so scary to like get naked and sit on an apple box till De Niro walks in the room. You know, which I've never had to do, but I just was like thinking of a scary thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, in James Lipton, how does he fit into that place?
I don't know what the politics of it are anymore, but when I graduated, they had a rule that you had to go see and have your attendance taken at 2 actor studios. So I've obviously didn't pay attention to that and then had to run, and the last one I got was Jennifer Lopez.
It's a super funny story because you asked her on a date when you asked your question.
Yeah. It's kind of now like that bit doesn't hold up great.
Oh, right.
You know, it's like, why did I ask her out?
Well, because
Jesus,
it
the
was
patriarchy
2000
was
what?
like, yeah, it was really, I guess I am in the patriarchy.
As it turns out.
Yeah.
All I gleaned from that was like, oh, you loved Out of Sight too? That's one of my favorite movies.
The best.
Isn't that movie?
The best.
And have you heard the behind the scenes stuff that those two didn't get along?
Who? Clooney and Lopez?
Yeah. And the fucking chemistry.
It's so hot.
I've never seen.
In that trunk?
Oh,
When
that
he's like, and he's got his
trunk.
hand on her butt, and he's like
His
tapping his
fingers.
fingers. It's so hot. It's
in
so
the
hot.
red light in the
Oh my
trunk
God.
with the brake lights.
That's vintage Soderbergh.
I wanted Monica really bad to watch it with me because it's one of my all-time favorites.
I hadn't seen it.
Did you like it?
I did.
But it didn't.
doesn't-
And while I was watching it with her,
Doesn't
I was
hold
starting
up?
getting self-conscious.
It doesn't hold up.
What it is it's the first step towards Ocean's 11.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it is paradigm shattering at that time. But Monica liked it. But of course, I could see it wasn't the experience that I had because it wasn't groundbreaking for her now after seeing Ocean's 11 and all these other things that had this snappy, fun, musically driven vibe.
I mean, I felt that way. Like I was shown like With Nail and I, and I love that movie. Right, like I was like, oh, this is the precursor to like a lot of like Rogan's shit. I think is like kind of reminiscent of With Nail and I. Like dudes hanging out is kind of With Nail and I in a lot of ways. And then I showed it to my wife.
Yeah,
and she was like, all right. I mean, do we have to watch the whole thing?
Right. I think I got the tone, the vibe
and she's like, I
already.
see why you love this.
Yeah.
Can I go in another room?
It had been a little overhyped to me because by the time I saw it, it was already 10 years old. And,
Right.
you know, comedians tend to love that movie.
They do. But I needed to see it because I realized that I had been doing that shtick without ever seeing where it came from.
Right.
You
Which
know?
can totally happen, right?
Yes, totally. Because there's so many variations of that now.
Yeah.
But I needed to see where, like, that's kind of where a lot of my shit comes from.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I will think of myself as a coward if we leave this interview without me bringing up a couple things.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What do you think of that setup?
I feel like we're going to fight.
No, we're not going to fight.
You're so much bigger than me.
I think I relate. I think I have a lot of similar instincts to you. I watched a couple clips. I watched this thing of you presenting at the Shorties. And I watched that before I ever met you, and even before I asked Alicia what kind of guy you were.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he can be mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm very mean.
Yeah,
But you're not, clearly.
But you're not
at all.
I don't think I am. I can be.
Yeah, walk me through that.
I had to present 3 awards, and they told me it was going to be like a chunk of time.
Oh, okay.
And so they were very loose about it, because
yeah.
And they were like,
It's the shorties.
Yeah, they're like, you can read the prompter, but like, be funny.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And then that's what was funny to me.
Right.
Was that, this was going on. It was
Right.
the
So
funniest
just in
thing.
a nutshell, it's an award show for.
It's an award show for branded content.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So for me, I would have just been like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't
Once
want to
again,
go
I
to
didn't
that.
look at the junket. I was like, I had a movie coming out, and I was like, where am I going? What is going on?
It was on a schedule.
It was on a schedule.
Okay, and you kind of just woke up at something you didn't want to be at.
Kind of, but it wasn't even that I didn't want to be there. It was like I would have said yes to do it because that's part of the job is that you have to do it. It was more I was asked to be funny, and the funny thing to me was how serious it was being taken for what it is, and like there was
Yeah, because the video package you introduced, Monica, is basically like people on Instagram who have breathed life into different products.
yeah.
Oh, God.
So the clips that he shows are, it's just objectively
Absurd.
bonkers.
It's bonkers that
yeah,
we're like that we all have to be like, and these people who made this campaign for Sprite Remix, such an amazing job. And like,
But at the
So
same time,
earnest.
there was another part of me that was like, oh, those people are in the audience. That is the big thing in their life.
yeah, but I look at like Kimmel, who's a mutual friend of ours,
Right.
Jimmy, who I talked to the next day,
Sure.
was.
Which, by the way, is straight up his alley. That's a bullseye.
And that's
for
why,
him.
and that's why he reached out to me. Thank God, because I was really nervous.
Oh, was there blowback? From
Yeah,
that?
a lot of
Oh, there
blowback.
was. I didn't even know that.
a lot of blowback? Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry, bro.
No, that's okay. I don't mind. It is what it is. But I told him, I was like, while I was doing it, I just kept feeling like I was watching you do what you do at the upfronts, which is like every year ABC flies him to New York.
Yeah.
And he goes out there and he destroys them.
Yeah.
And they
he
clap and they
shits
love
on
it.
them, yeah.
But again, that goes back to this like new wave thing where like I just don't think that people have the same sense of humor that they once did.
Well, another little distinction I would just make is that he's pretty much making fun of, very well-paid famous actors
Yes.
and huge successful show creators
Yeah.
in that. So it's like the butt of the joke seems like they're lofty enough that they can stomach it.
It seemed the same thing to me. That we're at an award show. I mean, these people are dressed up, black tie. They're clearly paid. They're getting money from these brands. Like,
Yeah.
can't we if there's anyone that can like have the piss taken out of them, it's branded content stars, right? But no, it's not.
What did Jimmy say?
Jimmy was like, don't apologize, which I think he would tell me to apologize if I was wrong.
He would, yeah.
I think he would be the first one, but he was like, I think what he meant by it was like, when you eventually do need to apologize, if you've apologized for this, it won't mean the same thing.
That's
because this
true.
is clearly
because
humor.
we're all gonna fuck up.
Yes, of
pushing
course.
the boundary. As
Yeah,
we
I'm
try
gonna have
do.
to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to apologize. Jimmy's fucked up,
Yes.
So I eventually will have to, and I think that you got to be really careful about what you do it for.
Right. That's interesting. Now, do you in general like roasts?
No, I think I can take it. Like, I don't know what would honestly like. I don't know what they would say that would like make me nuts.
Right.
There's no B-side to those jokes, like.
Yeah.
But it just is not. The situation is not being called out enough for me. Like, no one's talking about what's actually happening. Like, we're making these jokes about you're fat, your career, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But no one's else talking about the fact that like we're all paid to be here to do. No one's doing well.
Right.
We're roasting.
Right.
There's no self-awareness in it.
Well, and I think that's even driving the.
Yeah, the anger.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I can't. I don't.
The whole thing just
like
seems
it.
very unhealthy to me.
Yeah, I don't like
and
it.
I can also admit, like, I'm just too sensitive for that. I try to avoid hearing negative shit about myself because it affects me. And why on earth would a,
Human being.
Yeah, in the same way I wouldn't sit down and eat like, chocolate covered French fries for breakfast. I just, I'm going to try to avoid.
That French fry article this week was a real killer. Did you see it?
No, what was that?
French fries are like worse for you than cigarettes.
No.
Oh my God!
What?
Yeah,
because of the grease.
concentration of the grease, like just the way they're formed.
Oh, I believe it. I believe
Like,
they're too fucking good. I know when
each
something's
French fry-
too good to be true.
Each French fry you eat is like horrible.
is
for
a
you.
pack of Camels.
It's like horrible.
Were you ever a smoker?
No, I weed. I like.
Yeah.
I'm a big time, Jew maintenance pothead.
I've pointed this out in here in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's very curious to me, and I like it. So I've been sober for 14 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I've been to a trillion AA meetings, and I see a bunch of different types of people. And there's a weird, if this is anecdotal, I haven't done a blind study, but when Jewish folks are in recovery, they are, I think, disproportionately there for weed. Like, I don't know what it is about.
Jews and weed.
Yeah, kind of like Irish folks and alcohol.
Yes.
I think there's something there.
Sure. I mean, well, weed is prevalent in a lot of cultures. I would say like weed is around for us. I have nothing to base this on.
Yeah.
But it is. I think it does. I'm clinically depressed, as I think a lot of comedians and actors are.
Yeah. I think now just Americans, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
America. I think that weed is for me, it helps me in a lot of ways. Like, it's a de-stressor.
Your life is more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think it's just like a good little thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take me out of stuff. Like, I definitely pay a stoner tax. Like, I lose sunglasses and baseball hats like nobody's business. But I think the positives of it are really helpful for me.
They outweigh.
Yeah, they outweigh. From everything from like digestion to anxiety.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I think Jews, I don't know why for Jews, I don't want to there's so many jokes you can make like that we're always like, no, we're going to get chased out and the anxiety.
Right.
But I Donald Glover, I was reading an article with him because he's been really kind of focused on the marijuana for like the young black man.
Getting him on it or off of it?
Not either. He's just
Okay.
obsessed with the fact that like a lot
It's
of
so
it's so
tied.
prevalent.
Yeah.
And tied. And I think that it might be with Jews too. And what he says is like there's a PTSD factor from it, where it's like a soothing, thing because it's so stressful to be a young black man
Fuck yeah.
every day.
Uh-huh.
So there's like this de-stressor. And I would never say that Jews have even a modicum of that, but I do think we were brought up to fear
Right.
what's going to happen. And so for the yuppie, everyday Jew, weed can kind of like take a breath.
It is
from
a weird thing because we brush it off, like in the same way that we say to black folks, like, well, slavery ended in 1860. What do you, similarly, World War II was 70 years ago. And, I'm sure you had grandparents who witnessed all that. And to think that's not baked in culturally.
Yeah, mentally, as the moment you're born.
Yeah.
That's there because your parents felt it and now you felt it. And like, I'm a little holistically new wave about that stuff, but I do believe that stress gets passed down through the baby, like without them knowing.
Just knowing there was a moment in history where all of the folks like you were rounded up,
And
it
shot.
just
Yeah.
minimally you go, well, I know it's an option. It
and
happened. It's definitive.
And then it like triggers me a little is that there's so little of us. Like when those censuses come out,
yeah,
it is so shocking how many Jews there's no Jews.
really in the United States.
Like
what's the national population?
I don't know it. I don't. Anyone have their phone?
I'll find out. for
Well, what's
fact
the
check.
phrase? Say the phrase that I thought was scotoma, but it's not.
Bader Meinhof.
Bader Meinhof. I suffer from Bader Meinhof because I grew up in Michigan, close to West Bloomfield. All my dad's girlfriends were Jewish. My
Right.
brother converted. I now live in LA with tons of Jews.
like-
I think
Me
that the
too.
country is 10% Jewish.
Me too. I grew up in New York and I spent my career in LA and a little time in Chicago. Like
Right.
Jews I thought that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But that's why I've like I was saying before about not being white. It's like when you see that census, I think it might be less than 1%.
Right.
There are no Jews. And the reason that is because we're all immigrants, but 6 million of us didn't get to come here.
Right. How many
So-
are in Israel? Do we know? We
Not
don't know.
them. Israel's the
Monaco.
size of Rhode Island.
Is
Israel is one of the smallest countries in the world. Israel's this
Should I
big.
buy it?
I don't think right now is the time. I let that value go down a little.
It's a distressed property. We would call it. We would label it a distressed property.
Yeah. Don't build no hotels on that.
I did see. The reason I got sober is I loved cocaine.
Uh-huh.
I fucking love it.
So do I.
I really enjoy it.
It's great.
You got arrested once.
I did, yeah.
This is my ultimate fear come true. I just want to tell you one quick story.
Go for it.
When I was doing Idiocracy, I would get sober for movies, but I went down a week early for a table read. And then after the table
Where did you
read,
shoot that?
in Austin.
Okay.
So after the table read, I found myself out on 6th Street. I
Right.
found myself with a bag of cocaine. I was up all night. I had to take a flight back to LA. I'm in the like first class lounge. And then I want to go do some. And then I go into the bathroom. And then I don't want I've already gone through security with it, mind you.
Which is crazy.
Stupid and fucking crazy. But I hide it in this toilet dispenser in the handicap stall, right? I go in there and do a couple bumps. And then I go back to the bar and have a couple
Drinks.
Jack and Diets.
Yeah, of course.
And then I head back into the handicap stall and I reach up there to grab it and it's gone.
Right.
And I now am convinced that
someone
when I
hands it to you.
exit
Yeah,
this
you're gonna
handicap
get arrested.
stall, there's going to be like 8 TSA
Yeah.
guards or whoever would crack down. I'm convinced the whole thing's a sting somehow.
Yes.
And I stay in the stall for like 20 minutes, convinced I'm going to jail right before the movie starts.
Yeah.
So I have lived with the panic of
You're making I'm sweating right now hearing the story. You're making me feel terrible. Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks. Mine was just like bad luck.
Okay.
It was my 34th birthday.
uh-huh.
And I went out in New York and was like tearing it up.
Yeah.
And didn't even someone passed it to me. Didn't even realize that I like had it on me.
You were the last guy to go run to the bathroom.
I didn't even get to the bathroom because my other buddy was like, "Let's go have a cigarette outside." So we went outside, and then he was smoking weed, and we were on like 54th Street, which is what I learned after my arrest was like New York City. If anyone's listening, like, do not smoke weed. It is not cool. Like,
Right.
people smoke weed on the street in New York City like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You can do that if you're not anywhere from like 34th to 57th Street.
Okay. That's the no smoke
Since
zone.
9/11, that is just like all those buildings are filled with FBI.
Okay.
It's like cops all over New York.
Uh-huh.
And they all are in this one area. And I was just like smoking weed brazenly
Uh-huh.
right there.
Sure.
And
Because you guys have medical marijuana in New York?
no, we don't have anything.
You
It's
don't
illegal.
have anything?
It's illegal.
Oh my gosh,
And I
New
was
York?
living- and I lived here at the time, so I was like, thought
Yeah, you're allowed to smoke
I was
it anywhere.
smoking anywhere. I was like just smoking weed on the street.
Yeah.
But you can't. And the cops came up to me and they like cuffed me and
Searched you.
me. And then the next thing they did was Google me. And then
Oh.
I started crying instantly.
You did.
As soon as they came up to me, I started hysterically crying. I was
Oh,
like, it's
man.
over. I'm getting arrested. My career is over.
Oh, and did it make headlines or anything?
Oh yeah, it's still the number one. If you because I have this like also this crazy like right wing enemy faction because of the President Show.
Uh-huh. They're digging at all times.
If you Google me, it's right there.
Oh, that
I
comes
can't
up.
get it moved down.
Even ahead of gay. Because let me just say, for people who don't know, like I had an actor friend of mine who goes, look, I think a lot of people think I'm gay. And I said, why is that? And he goes, well, type in my name and the first suggestion is gay.
Yeah.
And then I do it and I go, oh, wow, yeah. But then I just decided, type in my own name. Same thing, is gay.
I think
it's the number one.
Yeah.
Every
I do have a lot of that because I played a gay character.
Okay.
So I do get a lot of that. But
I think though every single person
human has that. Yeah, that's and then it goes wife.
Right,
It's
right,
always
right,
like
right.
gay, wife, and then how much money. But yeah. So if you Google it, even just Googling my name now, it's like the first thing that comes up, and I have to take all these insurance tests for movies.
Oh, you
sucks.
do. And
Yeah.
did you have to make like a statement or anything?
No.
Okay,
I just
kept it moving.
Just kept it moving. Put my head down. It's like, hey man, it's price of admission with old Adam.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're gonna end up on the ground.
And do you think you have stayed in the zone of everything being fine as far as partying, or do you have moments where you're like, oh, I got to rein this in, or oh,
I think as all humans reach a certain age, you have to question your consumption.
right?
I would say that, there will be morning. Like this morning, we had our premiere party last night. And I was
yeah.
I woke up and I was like, I can't move. Like I'm so old. I can't fucking move. And like, I didn't even really go hard last night. I was just like, had a couple tequilas and went home at 1:00 and like
It's pretty good.
woke up and like, oh my God, I feel horrible. And so those moments I definitely am like, I got to cut this out.
Uh huh.
But also I'm a I'm a fun time.
Yeah, you're a good time Charlie.
I'm a good time Charlie party boy.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
my little skimpy shorts. I like to have a good time.
Yeah, everyone likes you.
Some people.
No, everyone I've met that knows you likes you a lot.
Yeah, to know me is to like me. From afar, it's like, hey, I don't want to get caught up in that.
Does it make it the one here? I'll tell you. Whenever we're with a bunch of other parents and we're like on a family vacation, everyone's drinking at night. I'm so jealous. I'm like, oh, they just got to shift gears from the chaos of being a parent to being
must take you a
relaxed
while.
in like 9 minutes.
It must take you a little time.
But the next morning, always at like 6:37 in the morning, we're all in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, thank fucking God. Because I'm the only one here that doesn't feel like shit.
Yeah. Well, you look great. I feel like my skin is gray. I'm like flaking.
No, you look wonderful.
I mean, I find that my like little vape weed pen rig is enough. That like I at night, like especially before bedtime, because it's such a war.
Yeah.
I can like be like, I'm gonna go take a shit. Take like 20 minutes on the phone, even if I don't shit.
Sure,
I'm just sitting in there, and I like can like downshift a little. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's very, from pickup to bedtime is tense.
It is.
It is tense.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And like we're nannied up too. It's not like we're like,
Well, that's what
Mayan Bialik over here, but like we do our best.
Yeah, I always say like we have help 8 till 6.
That's
and
great.
it's still fucking brutal.
And when you wake up and we have the same hours between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. Could not go slower.
or the weekends for us.
Oh my God, the
weekends are
is
like
a nightmare.
Yeah, it feels like it's like 84 hours those 2 days.
Weekends, but Monday mornings after I drop the kids off, I run right back to my bed if I have nothing to do, and I curl up, I cry, like the crying. I'm like running a cold shower over myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, this can't be it.
I'm like singing a song on the way to work, like I'm going to fucking Tahiti or something.
When I had a trailer work, when you have a trailer and you have kids,
and you can hide in there a little bit.
and you can jerk off in there.
Yeah,
it's like the
jerk
greatest.
yourself off.
Oh God,
Relax.
God, I dream about jerking myself off.
Yeah,
Just
or
that room.
just laying on a couch like flat without someone jumping on your nuts.
Oh my God,
all that stuff is so luxurious.
I don't have any, and like I have no piece of that right now. Especially like I saw the construction you have going on.
Yeah,
We gutted our apartment when we found out we were having another kid, and it's still not done. And so we're in corporate housing still with 3 kids and a dog.
yeah,
like-
and a new child.
A new
year
child.
and a half.
I have to like
You need that
jerk
vape.
off in an airport bathroom. It's the only place I can.
My best friend Aaron Weekly used to. We worked together in this industrial complex, and there was a lamp store at the end of the block, and he used to go in there in their bathroom and jerk off. I thought that's so hardcore to go to the lamp store bathroom.
Oh yeah, I have friends that are like, if I get a long flight, I have to jerk off. Like that.
A long flight. I've done that a few times in the
Yeah,
bathroom, but you got to be damn certain no one's like. It's like middle of the night flight.
Yeah, it's got to be a
You
red
can't have
eye.
someone knocking on the door.
No, because then you're like, in a minute.
Yes.
You're like chafed, and you're like, do I finish this up?
I have-
I've woken up from a hot sex dream or something on a plane
With raging wood.
raging wood. It's like the morning, and you're like, God damn it, what do I do?
Oh, so tell me about your show before you go.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It's called Champagne Ill, and it's on YouTube.
Shot in Champaign, Illinois.
Shot in there. Yes, all locals. And it stars me and Sam Richardson from Veep, who is
love him.
the greatest.
I
Best
love
dude.
him.
He's amazing. So we play picture like Drake, the rapper, played by Jay Farrow. So there's like a version of Drake played by Jay Farrow, and we are his 2 best friends from high school who didn't go to college and didn't get jobs, and we just have been on his entourage for the last 15 years. And then Drake dies.
Oh, geez. Oh,
And
no.
so we have no money and no education and no driver's license and
no driver's license.
none of our own clothing. So, and we have to like
We don't
learn
own
how
our
to
own
we have to
clothing.
learn how to live.
And you move back to Champaign, Illinois?
Well, we have no choice. Yeah, we don't have homes.
Do you move in with your parents? You do.
Yeah,
And-
it's like a hip hop Eastbound and Down a little.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
It's all. I'm so proud of it. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And do you write?
I did. I produced it, and it was like one of the first times I've ever gotten to like have an idea with these guys, and no one touched it. Like
Oh.
it got from where we wanted to 10 episodes with like a full budget. We didn't have to sacrifice.
YouTube's kind of good about that, right?
Yeah, they were. They were great. I mean, I don't know what YouTube is. Like, I don't know where to find it. I wish I could tell all listeners where to find it. I do not know. I'm hoping it'll just flash on someone's computer. But.
Well, our good friend Ryan Hansen, our best friend, he has a show on YouTube called Ryan Hansen Solves Crimes on Television.
It's great.
Yeah, and most of the jokes within the show are about what is YouTube Red. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even think it's called YouTube Red anymore.
Not anymore.
It's
Now
YouTube
it's just
Premium.
Changed it.
but now it's actually a really cool service because you get all the other.
And you get sports.
Yeah, you can get live shit on it.
Yeah.
So I think they actually have a real shot
chance.
at becoming.
I hope so, and I don't care. You know, it's
that's
like,
healthy.
As long as a place is willing to let me do 10 episodes, it doesn't matter. Because like, someone just told me they're doing a show on IMDb. And I was like,
It can't even be real.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, who cares then? Who cares?
Oh, 100%.
If you're going to hit my quote, I'll do a show for you on your web browser. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you ever been at the airport and it says like follow us on?
I just had this thought yesterday when I landed. I was like walking by this grill, this like bar and grill in the airport, and was like, follow us on Twitter for updates. I was like, updates to what?
Yes, I think I noticed it at the Dallas airport. It was like follow the Dallas airport.
I
I'm
feel like I should start.
yeah, it'd be
I would
kind
love
of
to
a
get
cool
updates.
yeah,
Or at least create a parody account.
and start letting it affect your life too, like
Yeah.
as an art installation.
I would love to be affected by that. Like have my wife come be like, "Are you okay?" Be like, I'm fine. I mean, they took the Native American art exhibit out of Gate C, but whatever.
I guess I'll just start flying Delta. I guess I don't really want to be reminded of it when I walk by.
It was beautiful.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for coming. You're really,
Thank you.
really sweet and lovely in person, and I
same
like
here,
you.
man. And thank you so much for having me. This
Yeah,
is so
and
cool.
Champaign, Illinois is on YouTube.
Yes.
And do you guys improv a ton?
Not a ton.
No?
It's the Happy Endings dudes who created it and wrote
Oh.
it. So the scripts are really, really fast and really tight, and it's got that same kind of like whip cracking smart. So you don't really have time to improvise. You just gotta like really.
But do you see this says everything about you? Because people who end up working with show creators from other shows they've been on says everything.
That's nice. I mean, there are a lot of people that won't work with me again.
Oh,
I've
okay.
burned many bridges. But yeah, Casp. Specifically in those Happy Endings guys, Casey Wilson, that's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of where I go to figure it out.
Well, that is what I want you to do. I want you to do just a tiny bit less of is like burning those bridges.
I will try.
Okay? Because I like you.
I like you too, man.
And I have to
appreciate
imagine
that.
some of it is based in the same reason I burnt bridges, which is just like, I'm going to beat you to making fun of me. And then you end up kind of
Yeah, it's
self-sabotaging.
Yeah, because you don't feel you're worth it.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I know. But you
I am
are.
worth it.
You are.
I know that. But I also I kind of like the feeling of not being worth it too, which is dangerous.
You're like, you know what you're like? And we just talked to Jake Johnson. He made a movie about gambling. You're one of these people that likes losing. Like you could be like those guys that are addicted to losing.
I love gambling and I love losing.
Oh,
I love
wow.
the feeling of losing.
Yeah, and you liked, and I heard this about you too before you got here, was that you kind of like bombing. Like
I
there's
do.
something
I love to bomb.
so interesting.
It's my favorite. I like to bomb more than I like to kill.
So
It's
I kind
really-
of love
me
it.
too.
I mean,
It's
it's
so
not-
rare.
Can we bomb though with like also not burning bridges? I think we can do it all.
I think you can, and I'm really working. I think as I get older, I will figure out that
Sweet
nice
spot.
alchemy of that.
Yeah.
Because as a young man, you don't care. You're like,
Yep.
you don't even think about it.
Well, and I wondered, as you were coming in here, I told Monica, I go, you know what it reminds me of is like when I graduated high school, when they gave me the diploma, I fake tripped and I knocked over these huge planters off this like 4-foot high stage. It was such a mess.
I love that.
Everyone was so embarrassed for me, except for the 4 dudes I was trying to impress.
I love that. It's like that to me. That's my sweet spot.
I loved it too, but now that I'm 43, I'm like also a little selfish and narcissistic
Sure,
of me.
sure.
To lower 1,000 people's experience and
Sure.
raise 4 people.
But at the same time, the self-awareness of like being like, this doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Well, that's true.
You know, in
That's
the
kind of a good
universe and
comment.
the way that we're all like, you're here now 43. It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
I saved the I got a typed out letter from the principal, and it's the first sentence of it was, once again the many will bear the burden of the few. The floral arrangements you destroyed cost $380 were taken out of your class fund.
Oh my God, you should have been valedictorian. That is the greatest. I hope you have that framed.
I don't have it
kill
framed,
for
but I
that.
do own it. And
That
I'm
is
very
true. That is a true comedian. You are like, like I remember when Amy Schumer like dove to the ground in front of Kim and Kanye West at the Vanity Fair thing, and people were like upset. I was like, no, we should all.
That's her job.
That's her job, is to fall down there. Like your job was to destroy that floral
That's
arrangement.
true.
And look at us now; it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really adore you, and I hope you come back.
I will. I mean, thank you for having me.
All right. Bye, Adam.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
Monica, welcome to the fact check, Monica. Padman with the facts, yeah, Monica. Original tune for my soulmate, Maximum Mouse and Miss.
Yay.
Yeah, that's an original.
Yeah, that was part of the song.
It was. Yeah, I didn't even have to tell you because it was one of the lyrics in the song.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I liked it.
It almost sounded like, wow, wow, December. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, I love that song.
It harkened back.
Yeah, it was an homage.
But not enough to get sued by them.
No, we'll make that clear.
Well, it's the great thing about my singing is I can't even hit the same notes in repetition, so you could never prove that I stole anything.
That's true. That's one of the upsides
It's really
to
one of
being
the
tone deaf.
silver linings of the tone deafness.
Ooh.
Adam Pally.
Adam Pally came by.
Do you want to say Adam Polly? I have to correct in my mind. I have to say his last name before I say his full name because I'm afraid I'll say Adam Polly. But it's Adam Pally.
Adam Pally. I don't have that problem, mainly because
You have superior diction.
that is why, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because I've been.
You're very well spoken
I am well spoken for.
for a mouse.
No, I have been following him, not on foot, his career for a long time.
Have you ever had a crush on him?
Oh, an improv crush for sure. But I didn't know him, you know. It was funny because he's in this group Hot Sauce, was or is. I don't know if they still perform. But it's Adam, Ben Schwartz, and Gil Ozeri. And it's this three of them. And, they're so funny together. It's
They are.
so good. And I would never miss a Hot Sauce show. They were once a month.
Love what a comedy nerd you are. It's so
Well,
cute.
it makes me kind of sad when I talk about this stuff because it totally is not the case anymore. And
It's a period of your life that,
it's past.
yeah,
Which makes me sad.
all periods are like that. But I think it's,
Except periods.
well, no, they're going to stick around for another 20 years for you.
Yeah.
But I think it is easy to look back and kind of feel like a sense of loss that it's gone.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably better just go like, no, that was the perfect thing for me to do at that age. And now I'm doing the perfect thing for me at this age.
Yeah. It's also okay to have some sadness.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the other happy stuff, but
Yeah.
you can have both things happening. I think it's okay.
You know what I feel that way about? Dancing. I used to go dancing all the time.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, sometimes I was aided by MDMA or whatnot,
Sure.
but not always. And I really love dancing. I could dance for 3 hours. What a workout that is.
Yeah.
And it was just, I think it added value to my life. And I often fantasize like, should I just go to a nightclub and just dance? And then that feels crazy to me.
Yeah, and you also wouldn't like it. I went to a birthday party
Yeah.
about a month or so ago, and you were also invited to that party, but you couldn't come.
It was too late for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at a bar, but in the back there was an
Discotheque?
no, it just like the back area was like the dancing area. So it was kind of like a club back there, sort of. So, you know, we went back there and we were all dancing and it was so fun. But Perfect 10 Charlie did turn to me and say, can you imagine if Dax was here? He would hate it. Because not because of the dancing. Of course, the dancing is so fun, but it's all the other elements that we've outgrown, like the
Drunk, loud guys and stuff.
everyone being drunk, everyone shoving you every 2 seconds, like
Yeah.
kind of having to keep an eye out on your bag.
Yeah.
Like all of these practical, realistic things that are happening there that make it, the older you get, like less tolerable. They start outweighing the good parts, just the dancing part. And then if you're sober on top of that, no.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a place that has a very spacious dance floor. That's not a very popular place. So I have plenty of room to dance. And then, of course, it's got to have music I like. Well, that's going to be very hard to find.
Yeah.
This is going to be very challenging.
Well,
but I do dance at the house quite a bit.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll dance sometimes for a half hour, 45 minutes at the house.
Yeah. Any place can be your dance floor.
Yeah, you can dance if you want to.
Yeah.
You can leave your friends behind.
Yeah. So
Adam Pally, great dancer.
Adam Pally is a great improviser. And it was exciting to have him on because I was such a big fan. And I texted Anthony when I left I said, we just recorded Adam Pally because he was my roommate when I was at the height of this time in my
Obsession.
life. Yeah. And he was like, your life has just come so full circle. It's crazy. And that was true. And it's really exciting.
I was really happy for a
lucky.
different reason when we left the interview, which is I had seen him be really funny and sarcastic. And I was nervous going in like, oh, does he have an emotional side he'll be willing to share with us? And he very much did.
Yeah.
And I was very relieved about that. So I just didn't know.
Yeah.
Because he does, as he said on there, he likes to bomb and stuff. Like he gets off on it. And I was like, oh, what if he wants to do that on this show? You know, like what if he wants to
Right.
just eat a big shit sandwich for 90 minutes? I was a little nervous about that, but it wasn't.
Not
It was
at
very
all.
sincere and nice.
So nice. Yeah, I liked him a lot. Okay, well, so you mentioned the 99-year lease between the British and China for Hong Kong. So on June 9th, 1898, the British under Queen Victoria brokered a 99-year lease agreement for the use of Hong Kong after China lost a series of wars fought over the British trade in tea and opium.
The Opium Wars.
Opium, yes. In 1997, the British handed Hong Kong back to China, the end of a 99-year-long lease, in an event that was dreaded and anticipated by the residents, the Chinese, the English, and the rest of the world.
I was there right before it got turned back over.
You
I was
were?
there. Yeah, I was there when it was still English.
Oh, in 1996?
Yeah. No, 95. Yep.
Okay.
There it is. 95 or 96. One of the two.
Okay.
I lived out here. My mom took me on a 21-day cruise.
God, you really went everywhere on that cruise.
I really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that cruise did not go to Hong Kong, but we started the trip in Hong Kong because my mom loves Hong Kong.
Oh, got
We
it.
stayed in Kowloon Bay. It's such a cool city. Oh, is it a cool city? It's a beach town. You're not expecting that. It's got like big,
Right.
beautiful beaches on the ocean,
Right.
like L.A. Prettier beaches, really.
Yeah.
And then all these skyscrapers and
Yeah.
the boats in the harbor and everything. It's really pretty.
Cool.
I liked it a lot.
Do you think it's still cool now that it's back to being Chinese?
No.
You hate Chinese.
I hate China. They have created a hoax, climate change,
Oh, yeah. Big time.
and other stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't
They're
stand
taking our
China.
jobs.
They took my job.
probably.
They took my job.
What's your job that they took?
They do punk now in China. They have a guy named Dax Chan. And yeah, took my job.
Yeah.
I like China.
Have you been there?
No, I want to go. I am nervous about the air quality. I don't know if maybe I'm getting propagandized. I hear that the air quality is real rough in certain cities.
Yeah,
that like
probably.
your throat hurts after, a couple hours outside. I don't know if that's true though. I don't want to.
I have a friend who went, and she's doing okay.
She's alive still.
Yeah, she's still with us.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, she's thriving.
I'll tell you one thing. I loved the Olympics in Beijing. I was really taken with that opening ceremony. Still the best one I've ever seen.
That bird's nest. And isn't that what they had? They built that
yeah.
big bird's nest.
They sure did.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
I was captivated. I was like, I want to go to China. And then I thought, those Olympics do work
Yeah.
as an ad campaign
But
for the
do
country.
they? You didn't go.
Well, I've also watched a couple HBO Real Sports about how generally it is a big, big loss to the economy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
They spend way more money than they end up generating, I think, in general.
It's interesting. It's also just like it becomes like a pissing contest. Like everyone wants theirs to be the best one.
Yeah.
So they are overspending and overreaching because sometimes they're in places where they just can't afford it.
Right. And then if you saw
Icarus.
Yeah. The Icarus documentary on Netflix, which
Yep.
is phenomenal. And
It
it really
is.
gets into the doping scandals, what the Russians did, and they were stealing samples out of the room and stuff. It's very exciting.
It's really good. I love the Olympics and I miss it.
Yeah, me too. I'm very excited for us to have a summer Olympics.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's not for
Another-
next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
2020?
2020.
I wonder if the show 2020 will have a big, exciting party.
Oh, they should.
They should, right?
Yeah.
Like 2020 in 2020, starting in January 1st, 2020.
Yeah, they'll make a meal of it, I hope.
They really should.
Okay. What show was Will Ferrell on when he had a bird on his shoulder? Conan. And
Uh-oh.
yeah, you're going to
What?
be, I mean, this is one of those things that you just have to be sad about. There's something that you say all the time that's wrong.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Do I even want to know?
You already
Ignorance
found
is
out earlier
bliss.
today. Will Ferrell he was not a dead body on CSI or one of those
I know.
things.
But we did find out that he did get shot in an episode, and he was working under a pseudonym,
Yeah, but that's
and it was like a
not-
real average show. He just wanted to be introduced as a character, then killed.
and then killed. Yeah, which is really funny. But it's not
Not
the
a dead body.
thing.
I was told that.
Right.
But yes, I'm wrong. Shit.
I know,
Yeah.
and you love to say that, so
I
now you have
do.
to not say it.
I'm not going to say it anymore.
Okay, but you can say that he went on Conan with a bird on his shoulder.
Oh,
instead.
great. Okay, well, that's
now
not
you
as
have a new
exciting,
one.
but all right.
Now you have a new one. You said coffee and cars with comedians,
Love that show.
but that's not what it's called. It's called comedians in
Getting
cars
car?
in cars getting coffee.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. I
Okay.
think so.
Comedians in cars getting coffee.
Now that sounds wrong.
They
but
all
I'm
sound
pretty
wrong.
sure it's right. Yeah, comedians in cars getting coffee. Yes.
Yes.
How long are Catholic wedding ceremonies? With a full mass, they can be an hour and a half. But with no mass, about 45 minutes. Both are long, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it should be like a 15-minute ordeal,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Then get to that reception, get some champagne, and then hit the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is such a fun part of I love weddings. I know you don't like
Yeah,
them.
you do.
Yeah, they're so fun.
Well, you like to see if the boy cries.
I like to see if the boy
groom.
cries. Yeah, the groom. And I like to dance and I like to drink.
Yeah.
And
The food's never that good.
no, but I'm always excited about it.
Oh, okay, good.
And then it never delivers, but that's okay.
yeah.
Sometimes there's something fun happening.
Why
like-
can't they make that food good? It's just too much food to prepare at once. Is that the
I
problem?
think so.
Because I've
yeah.
been to some expensive weddings and it's still very average.
I know. Even
It
I
always
know.
tastes like an airplane meal.
right. I'm so hungry.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get you out of here.
So weddings are fun
Hmm.
and romantic.
Yeah, I do not like them. Now, granted,
know.
I've had fun at weddings.
Yeah.
I'm gonna file this under the many things that I don't want to do, but when I do them, I don't mind them.
So why don't you want to go to them?
Because I got to dress up. I hate dressing up.
Yeah.
Wham.
And dressing up for you it's just putting on a suit jacket.
In pants
In
and
pants.
a collared shirt, and probably a tie, and then shoes that are uncomfortable.
Okay, but at least you don't have to put much thought in. Girls have to like plan their whole outfit. Make sure it's the perfect amount of cuteness, but not so cute that it overshadows the bride. That's a real thing people have to worry about.
Okay.
You can't
Like you would
wear
never want to wear
white.
that J-Lo dress to a wedding. People would think
No,
you're rude.
People would get really upset.
Also, the fit seems to be a lot more important for females than guys. Like I got measured for some suits a while back, and I just keep wearing them. Now I fluctuate. Sometimes they're tight, sometimes they're loose, so I just
Yeah.
wear it. But I feel like the dress has to fit perfectly, isn't that?
Well,
the standard?
you want it to fit you the best, so it's the most flattering on you. That's probably the same with those suits too. You just don't care.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like many of the guys care.
Yeah, they
'Cause
might not
Rarely do I see a guy whose suit fits him, except for like Daniel Craig.
His fits nicely. Real nice.
No one wears a suit quite like Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's nice.
Or those little tiny little swim trunks. He wears the hell out of those. When he's getting out of the water in that one James Bond, the short blue swim trunks.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, what a sight. Deltoids popping, trapezias everywhere.
Yeah, wow.
Thick, strong thighs. You know how much thigh envy I have.
I know.
When we were shooting this week, remember I pointed out a guy who had really big calves.
Yes.
So jealous. They're so big he can't wear pants. By his own admission.
I know.
There's no pants that fit over his calves.
I know.
I'll be willing to wear shorts the rest of my life. What does he do when he goes to a wedding?
It doesn't look.
Sweatpants?
He probably has to get a custom made thing, and that's not fun.
They take the thigh from my pants and use it for the calf of his
Maybe.
pants. I think his calf's actually bigger than my thigh.
No, I saw him. It was not that absurd.
I think it looks like a bowling ball.
I mean,
2 bowling balls. I pray to God he's got to kick us out of some scenario. Kick through a wall or a door, steel plate.
well, we already established that. I wouldn't probably like it. That seems too aggressive.
Even if it was to save our lives from a pop-out.
Okay, that might be nice, I
Yeah.
guess. Sorry,
I
guy.
know.
What if he listens? I don't want him to be
He
upset.
doesn't listen, no.
Okay. Well,
You know who listens is Seth, the key grip.
yes.
And he gave you a double handshake.
He did. He gave me a double handshake, which I loved, obviously, because I love that. But I couldn't tell if it was because he knew or not.
I know that's what we had to try to. We talked about it for a while after. Is he just naturally a double handshaker?
Yeah.
Or is he preying on your weakness?
Both are good options.
They are. There's no losing in that.
No.
Yeah. Also, talk about a set of legs and ass that I'd pay top dollar for.
I know.
They're glorious.
So he said there are no Jewish people in South Carolina.
Okay.
So there are 16,820 people who are Jewish. In
So
South Carolina.
8,000 less than Indiana.
Yeah. And
Wow.
0.3% of the population.
Oh, okay. Well, similar percentage of the
Yeah.
population. That tells me there's not a lot of people in South Carolina.
Right. So has the Koch brothers funded more cancer research than anyone in the country? I don't know if they funded more than anyone in the country, but they have funded a lot of cancer research. David Koch, the 7th richest man in the world with a net worth of $42.7 billion, has pledged $150 million to Memorial Sloan Kettering to build a new outpatient cancer facility on Manhattan's Upper East Side. A world-renowned cancer center announced Wednesday of some other period of time.
Okay.
Not
A
this
bygone
Wednesday.
era.
Yes, correct.
That's nice.
Very nice. And they have an institute at MIT for research. So, yeah, they have done a lot. So Pally and his wife are high school sweethearts.
That's cute.
It's so cute.
I'd like to get Dr. John Gottman to talk with them. Because remember, I asked Gottman if there was such thing as just like high school sweethearts where it's so easy. You don't have to do any work.
Right, but that's not
He
the same
didn't believe
thing.
that. Yeah. But I want him to interview Pally and his wife to see if they're the exception.
Yeah, but it didn't sound like he was saying it's so easy.
No, he didn't.
In fact, I'm not getting that impression at all. You can be high school sweethearts and it not be easy. And
I think it's
make it
sweet.
work. I do
like it.
too.
I only know a couple of high school sweethearts that made
the distance.
Yeah. It's very hard to evolve at the same pace.
I know.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, unless maybe you don't, but then you kind of like,
Stick it out.
trudge through it and then you meet up.
Yeah, because you might both have like a 2-year period of tons of self-betterment, but it might happen 4 years apart. Mm-hmm. You might end up in the same.
Yeah.
But boy,
Yeah.
probably hard those 2 years where you're like, well, I don't eat like shit anymore and I don't drink every
Yeah.
night and my partner does. And
Yeah.
that's probably hard. But I told you my 8th grade girlfriend, Randy Hamina, a high jumper, she broke up with me in 9th grade to start dating this kid, something Shane.
Okay.
They're still together.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, from 9th grade. That phone call I was on my waterbed at my
Oh,
dad's
my
house when she
gosh.
called. She was breaking up with me. It was devastating. Also, it was at a very low point for me. Ninth grade, just moved to a new high school. I was a loser in the high school. No one really liked me. And then my girlfriend broke up with me. It was a little rough.
That's a sad moment.
And then I later learned that it was for Jay Shane. That's his name.
Oh, Jay Shane.
Yeah, he was a wrestler at Milford High School.
And they're still together.
They're still together. Yeah.
That's nice.
Children, everything.
Yeah. It's nice. Things work out.
Mm-hmm.
Things work out the way they're supposed to work out.
But I did think, like, oh my God, what if I hadn't had a new girlfriend since that phone call? That to me is scary to me for just my personality. Like, I would drive myself crazy about what kind of people are out there. And, you know.
I know. Not everyone has
what's it like to make love to a French woman?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff could eat at me. You'd be fine with it? I don't think you'd be fine with it.
I do.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'd be fine with being with the same person since I was 18.
But let's
17.
just walk it through. So in high school, you weren't like into comedy the way you got into comedy in your 20s. You had like a lot of interests, and that was just one of them.
Yeah.
So let's say you had your high school sweetheart, and then you guys both moved to California, and then you just got so into this world of comedy.
Yeah.
And then you started thinking, oh, wow, what if I actually had a boyfriend that was a comedian and we could be funny all the time? Like, don't you think that kind of thing would
It might, but I don't. I mean, yeah, this is such a weird conversation because it's a made up person. That's
right.
That's my.
Let's say he was a star of the
boyfriend.
football team.
Okay, well,
like the coolest thing in high school. And then,
I mean,
then he's not playing football anymore in his 20s.
I look. I just think I'm a person that could be with a person forever and not feel like
you're missing out.
I'm missing out. I don't think I feel that at all. I'm very loyal.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm friends with most all my friends as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loyal to a fault.
Why to a fault?
That's a good question. Why to a fault? Well, I don't know. We get in these hypothetical conversations all the time at the house about like whether I would still be friends with someone if I found out they killed somebody. My answer to that's always absolutely. You know, if I found out they were some kind of monster of some variety, I would still be like, well, yeah, but I know a different side of them. I'm still going to be their friend.
Yeah, but not if they like killed your like Kristen.
Yeah, not Kristen. Yeah, that's true. So if one of my friends killed Kristen, I probably wouldn't be friends with them anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But I did have a period where I didn't talk to one of my best friends for 10 years because of loyalty to my mom. I now talk to that person.
Yeah.
That was probably not necessary.
That's a weird situation because it's like you were loyal to one person, but you were not loyal to another. So both things are happening in that story.
Yeah, Laura's got to take the top tier.
Right.
Well, you know when you see it when it's loyalty to a fault is like people who loved Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
And then they just refuse to take on any information that he's a monster, you know.
That is true.
But I feel like I could both acknowledge the person's wrongdoings and still love them.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, when people, oh God, you see it so much, people defending people they love.
Yeah, I know.
Into the ground, you know. It's because we don't really have a third option in this country that's popular, where it's like you acknowledge the person did something, and you also say, yes, and I'm still standing by them. Like, let's say Louis C.K., all these friends of his, they disapprove of what happened, but they still love him and want to be friends with him, but they're actually not even allowed to say that out loud. Mm-hmm. Like, they're in trouble if they say, no, I still like Louis C.K., even though he's flawed and I totally disagree with his behavior.
Yeah.
That's not an option that you're allowed to pursue. And I think that's faulty.
That's probably true. That is unfortunate. People are allowed to love the people they love.
Yeah, and so when you're given the only option is, well, I'll double down and defend this person, or my other options are like, you know, publicly say I want nothing to do with this person ever again, then the choice makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
But if there's a very popular third option, which is like, what this person did is horrendous, totally disagree with it, I want to be a part of making sure they get help and don't repeat this.
Yeah.
And I still love them very much.
But why do you think that's not allowed?
Because when people have even teetered on that, they get destroyed.
But, that's all public stuff, you're saying. Like, that's if you care about how you're perceived publicly.
But it happens even in like a microcosm of your group of friends. One person cheated on another person, and there's going to be a division, and people have to decide if they hate that person.
I know,
and
I don't
denounce
like that
them.
at all.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't like that option.
Yeah, I agree. Like kicking someone out.
Yeah, or pretending they're the monster all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have always felt like that too in groups when there's like dynamics where one person's mad at the other person and you have to like choose. And I do not like that.
Well, let's even say like a concrete example on the show, which is like, I love Conan O'Brien. I like Jay Leno. I feel no obligation to dislike Jay Leno because they had a feud.
Yeah.
And a lot of people commented on this on our Instagram, like, how could you have Jay Leno on in light of Conan? It's like, well, I like Jay Leno.
Yeah.
I understand why Conan wouldn't like Jay Leno, but I personally like Jay Leno. And I don't have to dislike all the people I like dislike. That's not the barrier of entry for friendship.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way.
Nor do I expect people that I dislike to be not liked by my friends. That seems like such a narcissistic point of view. Like, I don't.
But I guess, yes, that's true. But like, it gets tricky. It's if someone like caused me a ton of pain and then you were like going out to dinner with him, I might feel like which I know is wrong, so I probably wouldn't even say anything because I would feel wrong about saying it, but I probably would feel bummed out by that. So I understand the emotion of feeling like this person should be on my side type of thing.
Mm-hmm. But like my good friend sued me once. It was kind of the end of our friendship because of that, obviously. And but I had other friends that were still quite good friends with him, and I wanted them to be.
I think what you're saying is right. But I'm talking about like emotional things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's reasonable to feel upset or betrayed or something, even when that's not really happening. But I understand why people feel that way.
Yeah. Well, and people also just have a handbag of things that they normally feel, that they're prone to feel. Mm-hmm. And I have bad ones. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I'm not prone to feel betrayal.
Yeah.
That's just not one of my first stops in my emotions.
Yeah.
Because I think generally the world's really complicated. I don't think anyone was ever offered the decision of, do you want to fuck Dax over or not? And there was nothing else going on, and they chose, let's fuck Dax over. I don't really think that's ever happened.
Yeah. That's a nice way of looking at it.
But I have other weird things, so.
Yeah. Oh, did George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez not get along during Out of Sight?
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything about that.
You couldn't?
I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, that's a rumor I've heard. I don't know. It's just one of these well-known things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. I couldn't find anything. Also, he shot that car trunk scene as one long take. But then, after test audiences responded poorly to the scene, he reshot it in a different form.
Are you talking about Tarantino?
No, Soderbergh. Out of Sight.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you. When I think trunk scene, I go to the signature shot of Tarantino is a trunk opening and like a little bit of skewed guys looking in the trunk. Okay, so that awesome trunk scene.
The Out of Sight scene.
Man.
He shot it in one take.
Oh.
But then I guess test audiences didn't like it, so they reshot it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
right?
very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, what a scene.
It says the original version is available as a bonus feature on the DVD.
Oh, which I own.
Oh, you have the DVD?
Yeah, I have the
yeah,
Out of Sight Blu-ray.
Yeah, well, it might be on there.
Ooh, I'd love to watch the single take one.
I used to love watching commentaries.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thief, I've watched it with the commentary on several times.
Yeah, I'd say I'd watched the Ocean's 11 commentary and the Good Will Hunting commentary, obviously.
Yeah.
Almost as many times as I've watched it without.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You love that behind the scenes.
Well, on Ocean's 11, you should watch that one because it's your boyfriend, Brad Pitt. My boyfriend, Matt Damon.
Ooh.
George Clooney, I think. But I think it's just those three.
Mm.
And it's hot.
I can't believe they got them to do that.
I know.
I guess when DVDs were new, you would do it.
Yeah, it was like a thing.
I always worry about the one Ashton and I did for the Punk'd box set. 'Cause we were
Why?
very young.
Oh.
I just worry about that one. I don't know what's in there,
I wanna
but
watch
I could imagine there's bad stuff in there probably.
Ooh. Okay, so he talks about how French fries are extra bad for you now. Like now we know that they're really, really bad. And that is from a New York Times article that came out at the end of last year called You Don't Want Fries with That. So if people want to read up on how bad French fries are, they can check it out.
I'd recommend skipping it and just keep eating French fries.
I could eat French fries right now.
I bet. You're hungry as hell.
I'm very hungry.
Ravenous.
How many Jewish people in the United States? He thought it was less than 1%. In 2012, the American Jewish population was estimated at between 5.5 and 8 million, depending on the definition of the term, which constitutes between 1.7 and 2.6% of the total U.S. population. So,
Let's settle on 2.2.
okay.
All right.
So that's not a lot.
We'll split the diff.
2.2.
Should we make it a goal to get every single Jewish person as a listener on here?
Sure.
That'd be great.
I'd love that.
Me too.
That's it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Adam Pally.
Adam Pally.
Adam Pally is a pal of mine.
Yeah.
And that's why I always pronounce the Al.
He was very sweet.
I really enjoyed him quite a
Yeah.
bit.
And smart.
I went back to work because, Alicia had worked with him for a while on that show.
Yeah,
and
you're working with Alicia Cuthbert.
and who's so lovely. I really want to get her in here. She's so fun and normal and down to earth. And I was excited to get back to work and tell her that it went really well and that we really love Adam. And she said he's one of the funnest people to be around
Yeah.
daily.
That's nice.
Yeah.
He's so funny. I hope he gets to just work and work and work and work and work and work and work.
Me too. I love you, Modest Mouse.
Love you.